All righty.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to wait just a couple moments and let a couple people join up, and then we are going to just get into it.
Y'all can hear us. Okay. Everybody's good.
Let us know that you can hear us
Got a
and
thumbs
see
up
us
from Omar.
with a hashtag good to go.
Yes.
Sounds great. Hello, hello, party people. Good to go.
Party
awesome,
people.
awesome.
Okay.
All right.
Yes. We're excited about this. This is going to be an awesome webinar.
Yes. So why aren't people just naturally coming in? Just like coming in and I have to do crazy things. Anyway.
Don't know how it works. So
yeah.
You're asking the wrong person. I'm not the tech chick. You were the tech god. I just sit here and drink water and.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So we're going to wait for a couple more people to show up and then we will get started.
We haven't done a webinar in a while, so we're excited to do one.
We've got a lot of really cool information for you guys. We are going to be winging it today. Selected waiting room by accident. I probably did.
Did you fix
I don't know if there's a way for me to fix that right now. Becky, let me know if there's a way for me to fix that right now.
Nope, just roll with it.
Okay, and that is what is happening.
Then we're just going to rock and roll with it because that is what we do.
All right, so thank you guys for joining us. This is an amazing little fun thing that we're doing for you guys, and I'm just going to get started. Anybody else who joins, apparently they're just going to have to wait in the waiting room. While we get started, I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see.
Fabulous.
Yeah, not that. Go with this and go with that. All right, so you guys can go over there. So today we are going to reveal the surprising science behind how to tap into your badass psychic abilities that you already have, even if you didn't know it yet.
So without all of that woo-woo, fairy, fluff-covered unicorn bullshit that we always talk about.
Because you guys know that's not what we're here for. What we are here for is to show you in the next 60 minutes that you're going to learn the surprising things that get in my way.
Learn the surprising science behind how to tap into those badass psychic abilities you already have, whether you know it or not.
And
so you can reveal your life's purpose and fully step into your power to help those who need your special sauce.
And to finally feel like the magical, awesome being that you were destined to be.
Because that's what we do.
Absolutely. So
this is for you if you are so over feeling alone or broken because your reality is way different than what, and I quote, normal people experience.
And as we go through this, I want you to drop a hashtag that's me if any of these resonate with you or sound familiar to you. This is for you if
you have tried everything out there to develop your spiritual gifts as you've gone on your journey, but have felt limited or stuck in the same place because of all the woo-woo reeks of bullshit and you crave something with actual substance.
This is for you if you routinely repeat the same toxic cycles over and over and over and over again, and then hate yourself for it.
Right. So let's do a quick room check.
I want you to answer as we go through this next part with a hashtag hell yes, hashtag hell no, or hashtag are you drunk on sake?
Number 3 is sort of relevant for us if you're
absolutely relevant. So, hell yes or hell no?
Oh, you are sensitive to the energy and vibrations of the world around you.
Both seen and unseen.
And you want to figure out how to use it to help others.
Let us know in the comments, hell yes or hell no. All right, moving on to the next one, hell yes or hell no.
You are struggling with figuring out what the actual fuck it actually means and how to develop it. I can't even talk today. Develop it in a way that feels grounded and authentic to you.
Without having to contort into acrobatic yoga poses while breathing through your third eye.
And wearing your entire crystal collection.
And smelling of sage and patchouli 24/7.
Got to add the patchouli. Right?
Hashtag hell yes or hell no. Hell yes or hell no. You want clarity and peace of mind
so you can finally feel like yourself and to change the world for
the
better.
In a way that flows naturally from being the magical fucking being that you are.
Salt and sass included.
Hashtag keep it real.
All right. We've got some people in the waiting room, I think. Let's
so
people in the waiting room.
Boom, boom, hell yes, like patchouli, absolutely can't even handle patchouli, heck no. All right.
Like patchouli, but not in large quantities that will choke you.
Is there a waiting room somewhere?
Yeah, we've got people in the waiting room waiting.
Where? Where's it? Where do you see that?
It was clicking. There was like 10
No,
people.
that's chat.
Oh, okay.
You
shouldn't ask me these tech questions.
I don't know these things. So who are we and why should you listen to us?
Who are we? That's like a very existential question. We can't answer that.
So we have always been fascinated with cracking codes, how the brain works, and why people do the stupid shit that they do, and how some people seem to find a way through some pretty gnarly trauma.
So both of us have been avid students of psychology, mythology, theology, especially me, along with neurology, metaphysics, which is, if you know what metaphysics means, some people don't, it's the study of first causes or root issues. On
our quest to help people past the bullshit and into the good shit. That's kind of who we are, and hell yes, thanks. All right, and moving forward, boom, boom. If I can click the right clicker, stop clicking.
I'm trying to help.
So there is our funny, beautiful mugs. Heather is a PhD. She is also a wine and chocolate lover, as well as the badass queen of sass.
I'm a little bit sassy. And David A. Karen, if nobody knew he had a middle name, is a certified master hypnotherapist. He's pretty good. And a sushi sensei and kind of a badass king of meme. But a little bit...
Down with the meme.
Oh my God. So a little bit more about us, for me personally.
And our stories.
And our story. I don't often tell my extended story, but it's pretty crazy. After about 20 years as a professional singer, trained classical vocalist, I was struck with a debilitating vocal disorder after a divorce, and all of my shit came to the surface, and it was pretty devastating and traumatic. And I was told by medical experts that it was an incurable disorder. But I called bullshit, because if you know me, and I'm the queen of sass, I am not taking anybody's word for anything. So I called bullshit and chose to pursue alternative methods on a quest for a cure. And this was kind of a journey of a lifetime for me. And it led to the total healing of my voice, as well as connecting with David on a whole other level on the way, and opened my abilities as a healing medium to kind of help other people find the source of their issues.
Right.
So now, after this kind of long journey, and because I'm a total overachiever, I'm a trained spiritualist medium, clairvoyant, a Reiki master, a cranial sacral therapist, a life coach, a hypnotherapist, a channel and healing medium with expertise in the field of metaphysics, mediumship, comparative religion, theology, dream interpretation, shamanism, and mythology. And I've also, after all of that, got my PhD in spiritual counseling and natural healing with a master's in theology and natural healing. All that.
And all of that. All of those things on those fingers.
Like I said,
boom. This is why I love her.
I'm an overachiever.
So, I am a certified master hypnotherapist, as you've already known, past life regression therapist, Reiki master, cranial sacral therapist, life coach, clairsentient, conscious channel, healing medium, blah, 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 blah. So as a teen, I experienced a near-death experience, which served as one of my shamanic openings, accelerating my gifts as a medium, as a psychic, kind of tapping into people's brains, tapping into how they work. I remember when I was a young child, I would have a conversation with my mom. I remember specifically this particular conversation. I was having a conversation with her across the table, kitchen table. She was going through this huge life crisis, and I was like 9. And I'm sitting there having this conversation, and I just remember saying all of these words that I did not understand. They were coming from somewhere, but I knew that she needed to hear them. So I started just vomiting these words that I didn't know what they mean. And she's like looking at me dumbfounded. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go off and play. And it wasn't until later that I realized that that was a form of channeling that I was doing. So as a result of my journey, I became gifted in guiding those who struggle through emotional blocks to find, resolve, and release those deep levels of fear hidden in the subconscious. I'm also pursuing doctoral work in metaphysics and psychology and all kinds of other stuff. I got a book in the works, all kinds of crazy stuff. That's pretty much a little bit of my background.
And FYI, he's still 9. But
I am still 9.
Together, we built a 6-figure healing practice once we met, actually more like collided in less than 3 years after we collided, using our kind of unique brand of holistic integration therapy, and kind of realizing that we wanted to help people who couldn't come to Vegas for sessions. We created a badass training and healing community online that has been freaking amazing.
Yes, absolutely. So that's a little bit about us and why you should listen to us, aside from the fact that we're just freaking awesome and really cool to hang around with.
And you are here listening to us.
And you are here. David. Yeah. So our approach gets to the heart of the matter. We alleviate the fluff, and I'm going to kind of boom down the chat for a minute. Alleviates the fluff and bullshit that goes and gets thrown around, causes confusion, creates peace of mind instead of more questions. That's our goal. We combine the mind and all the cool spiritual shit to make it applicable to your life in a way that makes sense without getting lost in that bullshit that doesn't make your life any better.
We also may or may not be addicted to sushi, Sapporo, and sake, just saying.
Mm-hmm.
But
it might be a reality. All right, and clickety click click. Oh, there we go. Okay, I can just click it here. Okay,
so what is the goal for today?
So today we are going to reveal the science behind psychic abilities and share that pimp cup of brain juice to help you understand WTF your abilities are all about.
Wow, that was really PG of you. So
what the fuck your abilities are all about.
That's much better. So you're tired of being limited is what we're trying to say. And it is our mission to help you find your place in this world. Mm-hmm. Or at least we've made it our mission. Yes. Kind of a place where you feel like you belong, so you gain the confidence to say #bye Felicia. That was your job to say.
Bye, Felicia. Hashtag.
To all of your limitations.
And by the end of this webinar, if we help you empower yourself, if we help to empower you to start or to continue your change the world or change. Damn. Wow. Okay. If we help you to change the world in your unique way, your blend of magical weirdness is all its glory, then it's going to be a smashing success. If we can do that for you today, then we're good. We're golden.
We're going to give that a shot.
So are y'all ready for this? Okay.
I don't even know.
If yes, give us a hashtag good to go. And if you are not ready, give us a hashtag good to go anyway.
Because we're just going to keep going. So
yep.
in the
good to go. All right.
In the intuitive arts, we find that there is a tendency to compartmentalize gifts.
Right.
Okay. And while it is good to recognize what senses you are using for learning and integrating your gifts into something useful for your life,
it can sometimes be limiting to our development and our possibilities if we try to label ourselves as simply one thing or another and hold on to that.
So you are a human. Okay, you are a human, whole human.
I like to be a whole human.
Okay. That's great, David. So, and that humans use all of your senses to see, to feel, to touch, to taste, and smell your way in the world, right?
Right, and all of these senses are interrelated. They are interconnected. They are separate, but functioning as part of a whole sensory system.
So it doesn't make a lot of sense that in the intuitive arts, we see people compartmentalizing
and segmenting and segregating their gifts.
And that limits how much you can learn and how far you can go. Just because you've told your brain, I'm a clairvoyant, that you're automatically telling your brain to not pay attention.
Right, that I don't do all of these other things.
So keep in mind that science has named at least 40 at this point. I know it's more than that at this point. Unique senses through which we interpret the world.
Right. So it is getting harder to draw the line between what we once considered psychic and what we now are starting to see as simply more subtle ways that we communicate with each other and sense the world around us.
So if you change your perspective, which is what we're here to do and what we've always sought to do, I am literally the hanged man card, that is me. If you change your perspective.
Didn't we just tell them not to segregate?
What?
And you just segregated? I am literally the hangman card, which means you are no other card in the deck.
I am lots of cards in the deck.
You're also a Gemini, so you can be anything.
I have all the cards in the deck. So if you change, the important thing is that you have all the cards in your deck. Yes. So if you change your perspective, you might see that your typical 5 physical senses are simply kind of the more awkward, loud cousins of your subtle senses. It's just we notice them more, right?
Boom, kind of like David. So once you start paying attention by practicing your awareness, your sensitivity, and trusting your intuition, then all of your senses can come into play and flow together seamlessly.
So that is the goal. And you're going to start to see with what we think of as physical senses, that one mode may not always be prominent because you're not always paying attention to what you're feeling with your physical body.
Right. So think about a dark room where you use senses other than your sight to navigate.
So
okay?
this is the magic mix for psychic abilities is to
Talking about the magic mix.
Is to become aware that your psychic senses interrelate and integrate the same way that all of your physical senses do. It's just a matter of paying attention.
Now we have a moment of truth time.
I want to ask you ladies, because ladies, who's got crystals in their bra right now? I just want to know.
No, you don't really have to tell us. You know who you are.
Oh my God. Who's lost crystals out of their bras before? No.
Who's dropped them on the floor?
Oh, Jesus.
Who's had them stub their toe?
This is why I don't have crystals in my bra anymore.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Guilty. I mean, not me, obviously.
So what are psychic abilities? Let's talk about your psychic senses. So your psychic senses are called your clairs. Okay, so clair means clear in French.
Right, and you've got 4 main psychic abilities or psychic senses. You've got clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, claircognizance, which is clear knowing, clair empathy, which is clear feeling, and clairaudience, which is clear hearing.
We're going to break them all down for you. So you got your pens and pencils, get to writing. So the ending of each of these word signals, sense it means clear, right? So which sense is clear? So clear seeing, clear knowing, clear feeling, clear healing. But like our other senses, they usually work in harmony with each other to complete the experience, even if one of the senses is the star of the show for a particular type of experience.
At a particular time.
Right.
You are rarely, like never, ever, ever in your entire life, using only one sense at a time.
So that's why just being clairvoyant, would be like saying, I only see with my physical eyes. So you're going to have to pantomime whatever you want to tell me, silent movie style. Your senses just don't work like that.
So just being aware that you can practice using the whole body to pick up information is going to allow all of the senses to work together as a more powerful team. And that can make a world of difference as you unfold.
So
that's a whole new world.
Had to have a music moment. So, and here's the thing. I think a lot of times you have people that are clairvoyant and they've talked themselves into being clairvoyant. And so they're experiencing clairsentience and the feeling and all these other senses all the time. It's not even really a matter of developing them. It's just a matter of paying attention. So they're not even paying attention to the fact that they're seeing something, but they're feeling some kind of way.
Or maybe they're hearing something while they're seeing something, and you got a whole movie going on in the head.
But so now we're going to give you a rundown of 4 of the main psychic senses. So
what people think they are and what they really are for you and how they actually work.
But first, let's see who's here today. If you've got one or more of these following ones, drop a hashtag ClairLife in the chat box. And those are clairvoyance, claircognizance, clair empathy, or clairaudience. Which one do you tend to pay attention to most?
Clair life, of course, Becky, because you're weird. Let's see. Can you briefly also tell us about what the other 36 psychic senses are? No, we don't have enough time today to go into all of those 36 psychic senses. However,
I think you know a place where you can study those, though.
Yes. We might know some people that can answer that for you in a different place. Okay, so the first mode that we're going to be talking about is the big show.
I like to call this the big show because this is the one we always think about, clairvoyance or the seeing mode. Okay, so clairvoyance means clear vision or clear seeing.
And one of the biggest blocks to people becoming more sensitive to their subtle senses is simply because they don't know how to see, or rather, they don't know how they see.
Okay, so contrary to popular belief here, it does not mean that you see little holograms pop up so you can see a physical thing. Because when you see clairvoyance in the movies, you think that that's how it's supposed to work for you, but in real life, it doesn't.
You don't have a holodeck inside of your head.
So here is where it gets.
But you do.
You do. So I have a hologram right here. It's David, and sometimes I can't shut him up. So here is where it gets tricky, because when someone says that they are clairvoyant, it is assumed by other people that don't know, #muggles, that because of how we see psychic information shown on TV, that it is always this visual thing out in the world that we are supposed to see with our physical eyes all the time if we are psychic.
Now, part of you might think that that's really cool, but how cool would that really be to see all of the time?
No, not cool, because then how do you get shit done, you know?
But this is how most people perceive clairvoyance.
Right.
So when somebody says, I'm a clairvoyant, they automatically jump to, oh, you see all this stuff inside of your head and out in the real world too?
Not that you can't, because you can, but most of the time and more efficiently, clairvoyance is seen, inside the brain, inside the head of the clairvoyant, with the eyes open or closed. So you can see them with your eyes open and see inside your head, or you can see it with your eyes closed inside your head.
Right. And primarily it occurs without using the physical eyes inside of the head.
I mean, the physical eyes,
primarily.
The physical eyes are literally inside of the head, David, but you know what we mean. So the eyes are
#called out.
Yeah,
eyes have it.
So you know that your eyes are inside your head.
So for example,
for me, even though I do often see physical things outside of the head, like someone's aura, so you do see things with your physical eyes, but just understanding that primarily, if you're primarily trying to just see it outside of the head, you're going to slow your progress down.
Right.
So I will see things physically outside the head, like somebody's aura, but more often I will see the image inside my head and sense where the energy is located in the area. In fact, that for me has become actually easier and way faster. I used to do it the opposite way when I was younger, but I found I was slowing myself down.
Yes. So to begin to develop, actually, we're gonna kind of pause for a moment while Heather gets her water. So you see, our physical eyes, before we get into the next part, our physical eyes get really overstimulated with life stuff. So it's actually easier to switch to a more unobstructed channel. It just might not seem as cool as it looks on TV. And that means inside of your head is much more relaxed than the actual eyes that you're using and overstressing every part of your day.
So to start developing that channel, here's a little tip. Let's see, Omar saying, we're reading some comments right now. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So Melissa says, oh, I see things in real life. Like if I see my daughters in a random crowd and a scene unfolds and I know this is important to tell her. Yeah. We're not saying that you don't see things out in real life. We're saying that most of the time the information is going to come in through your head as a reception point.
Right.
Okay. And Omar says, I'm working on finding out the difference between images produced by my mind versus images and visions from spirit. And that is not necessarily the context of today, but Omar, I know a place. I know a place that you can find answers for that one.
So, and when we're talking about seeing things psychically, clairvoyantly out in the world, we're talking about things like apparitions, that kind of thing. So if
full body apparition.
So you're seeing an image clairvoyantly of something happening in your daughter's life, let's say, that when I'm talking about physically out in the world, I'm talking about in your space, like you're actually seeing the aura around a person, or you're actually seeing like a shadow person over here.
Yeah.
So you can have a combination of both.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that if you're only relying on the physical outside in the world, you're seeing it in your space, then you're not using both sides of it.
Right.
If you work on both sides, you can progress both gifts a lot faster.
And it's also understanding that the gift works in both of those ways. It works inside of your head and out in the real world. We're not saying that it only works in one way or the other. We're just saying that predominantly it happens inside of your head, even though you can see things externally.
So regardless, it all happens in your brain, right?
It's all in your head.
Regardless of if you are singing it inside of your brain
or outside in the world,
with your eyes closed, or if you're seeing it physically in your space,
right?
The place that it is processing is still in the brain. So it's kind of a weird thing. So, well, let's give you kind of a little tip on how to start developing this channel.
So to start developing this channel, close your eyes and focus on a point in the center of your forehead. Okay. And what this does, you may see a point of light. You may see a shape, you may see nothing at all. Just by doing that, you're starting to exercise and kind of shift the processing parts of your brain that are processing visual information. So at first you may see blurs, you may see shapes of faces, maybe objects, even geometrical shapes. Just see what emerges and then allow it to develop. And through this process, don't be discouraged. Like any skill, it takes practice. So allow and relax into it rather than force, because if you try to force it, you're going to create too much resistance around it. Okay. And there's also a notes on the curtain exercise.
Well, let me kind of describe that to you. I've got a couple of exercises that you can do to develop that inside mental clairvoyance that I was talking about and the outside physical clairvoyance that I was talking about, just to kind of clarify the difference and two different exercises that you can use to develop both sides of your clairvoyance. So try these two to help train your brain to pay attention to clairvoyance. Because remember, what we're doing is we're learning to pay attention.
Yes. Okay. So one of them is called the notes on the curtain exercise, and the other one is called the essence of trees. The notes on the curtain is you close your eyes, you imagine a black curtain with 100 note cards on the floor with the numbers 1 through 100 written on them.
So with your imagination, because you're using your imagination here.
Inside your head, eyes closed.
You're going to raise those numbers up one by one, like here's number 1, and you're going to pin it to the curtain with your imagination.
Yep.
It's not as easy as you think, because your brain starts to get bored after about 10 of these. Keep going, because you're literally exercising the inner clairvoyance.
Yes.
So you pin them to the curtain, and this really works if you can just lose yourself in the process of pinning the things on the curtain.
It's like doing 100 crunches for your mind.
Crazy. But so for developing your outer clairvoyance, that ability to see things externally more readily, because chances are you were already seeing things externally in a clairvoyant way. You're just not programmed to pay attention to it.
And this one is called the essence of trees. And Lena says, I see swirling lights that come in and out with different colors. Awesome.
Yep,
awesome,
that would be an external physical clairvoyance.
Well, it depends on where you're seeing them. It could be inside of your head, or it could be outside. So Lena, let us know if that's inside of your head or if that's out in the real world. Okay, so this one is the essence of trees exercise, and this one, like Heather said, is good for developing external clairvoyance, which is the clairvoyance that is outside of your head, out in the real world, out in the physical space. Everything has an energy field around it that, believe it or not, most people can train themselves to see.
So sometimes it's easier for our minds to wrap around seeing a glow around something like a tree or a plant first before we can trick our minds into knowing that we can see something more complex. And it's not more complex, we just think it is, like a human aura. Okay.
And this one works especially well when there's a bit of humidity in the air.
So here's what you do, and this is kind of really fun. Find a tree that makes you particularly giddy.
And the reason for that is because emotions tend to amplify the energy itself and your perception of it, and make it a game. Make it a game. So picking a tree that makes you kind of really excited or just kind of like stands out to you, have a seat where you can observe it fully, and just let your eyes wander to the edge of where its leaves and the empty space begins. And just kind of relax into the space in between. It's not really focusing on the space. It's letting your eyes just kind of relax and get softer on the space in between. And you may begin to see sparks of energy coming off the edges of the tree, maybe a glow around the top of it. It's actually really cool, especially if that's not necessarily one of your most trained exercise or one of your most trained channels so far. And then Lena says, inside, I see it with trees all the time, but harder with people. Yeah. And again, these are things to train your mind through exercise so that you can become better at, just like 100 crunches is going to build up your abs.
So it really does help to get feedback when you're working on your psychic senses, because I've had different people that I've worked with over the years. David and I, from the moment we met, I've always got a training partner, right? Yes. But so it really helps to get feedback and other techniques to try from people who've developed this psychic sense already. So, for instance, David really wasn't using his clairvoyance as much as he should. But when we got together, I was like, hey, try this, try this. He's like, oh my gosh, that's totally easy.
Right.
And that's why we kind of love our Zen heads. Some of you are online with us in our online community we created to do just that. And that's kind of what we do when we're not here.
Right. And it's extremely rewarding for us. It's like heartgasm level rewarding.
Wow.
I mean,
that's not even a word, but I like it.
Heartgasm.
But
it's kind of like lifegasm, only of the heart.
I got the gist, David. I got the gist. So you don't need to give me a bad 80s song to help drill it into my brain. So anyway, our Zen heads are badasses, and seeing those badasses kind of develop their gifts in a safe space, because I never had a safe space to develop it. I was always a lone practitioner, like all by myself practicing these things. And so that's why we kind of created it, to find a space so people like us who were loners could find other loners to practice with.
Right. And it's really nice to have a place to practice and to troubleshoot the things that are hanging you up without getting the third degree from friends or family that just don't get it.
When I was younger and practicing my gifts, I would go out into our pomegranate orchard, like way in the back, and practice. It was kind of crazy.
And then Omar says, can we do the curtain and cards exercise with our eyes open?
Sure.
Like, for example, if you are on a treadmill or whatever. Yes, definitely. You can play with it. And Omar, you're already more further along. So that would probably be a good exercise for you to do. Open to just kind of see in your mind's eye and let the imagination run wild as you do that particular exercise. Hashtag live tribe, love it. Love the notes on the curtain. Yes, and it's really easy to do, or kind of a good idea to do the numbers so that you know kind of how far you've gone in your progress over time, because these aren't things that you're just going to do one time and you're going to be a master at. It takes practice, just like those crunches.
So, and we're going to get to the second mode. So we just wanted to drop a couple of quick exercises that were super easy that anybody can do.
Yes.
Because when people tell me I don't have gifts, I can never develop that, I'm like, there's some really easy, basic exercises that you probably haven't even thought of, because you're trying to like wear all the crystals and do all the...
And making it so difficult and so hard, which makes it even harder to develop. So another one that I want to give to you guys, a little secret hidden clairvoyance one, is to look at the shadow of a person. This works really well in sunlight, but looking at the shadow of a person and looking at the aura of their shadow.
I wasn't going to give them that one today, but you did it. Okay, so, and it's a little harder to explain, but if you look at someone's shadow as they're on the sidewalk, you're not looking at their shadow around them. You get this bonus. This is one of our secret weapon ones.
Yes.
If you're in the sun, look at the shadow on the ground and focus on the shadow. So you're not looking directly at the person.
Right.
You're looking on the ground. You will begin to see sparks of light in the shadow reflected on the sidewalk, and even colors and a lot of energy. So we discovered
aura itself.
So now that we're diverting, so we discovered this. Now that you hijacked it, I'm going to hijack it back. Okay. So we discovered this after a healing session after we'd started our business, and we would go out on the back patio to kind of
decompress,
recompose ourselves, release all the energy from the session before the next client came in. And as we were doing this, the sun was a certain way, and we looked and we could see like these black clouds coming out of like We're
the
like,
aura
okay,
itself.
just
Yeah.
like, and it was like the energy that we had just helped release, we were releasing it out into nature. And I was like,
Right.
look at that. And then we started playing with it. That's how we accidentally discovered that you can see it on the sidewalk.
Yeah. And
There it is.
I'm not a highly clairvoyant individual because I haven't practiced that skill or that channel. But it was super easy for me to pick up on. It was super easy for me to see. So if I can do it and I haven't practiced that skill set, anybody can do it, in my opinion. Play with it. Lena says, should you do this every night? You should have a consistent schedule until you build the skill to the point where it becomes more natural.
So there are certain techniques and schedules that you can adhere to that are more advanced than we can do here on this webinar that are like a schedule of developing. So there are certain things that schedules you put yourself on to basically unfold your gifts and whatever you're developing. And yourself.
It's a training or a regimen, just like any other, just like you go to the gym a certain amount of time, you build up particular muscles. It's the same thing with your psychic senses. So now we're going to move on to the second mode for today, and that is claircognizance. And this falls under the broader category of clairsentience, which means clear sensing or the sensing, feeling, or knowing modes.
So this is kind of the knowing part, because the clairsentience, which is the broader category, is immense. There's a lot of different things that go in, but we're going to give you, it's divided into specific phases, okay? And each phase has characteristics of knowing and feeling with many, many variations, but two of the most typical are claircognizance and clairempathy.
Right. So in its simplest form, claircognizance is your intuition, a hunch, your gut instinct, but it can be infinitely more complex than that. And
so claircognizance has three distinct phases.
Retrocognition. And I want you guys to kind of throw some guesses in what it might be. Retrocognition, claircognition, and precognition.
Which is basically past, present, and future knowing. So retrocognition, because retro is past, is the ability to sense or know things that have already happened, such as seeing a photo of somebody and knowing things about it, or sensing things when you go to like a graveyard or a historic site of some kind. So that's what retrocognition is, a clear knowing of something that has happened.
Right. Okay. And claircognition is knowing in the present, like knowing that something is going on in another location at a certain moment, such as having a strong urge to call your grandma only to find out that she's just been rushed to the hospital.
So that claircognizance mainly is applying to the present moment.
Right.
So then we come to precognition, which is really fun. So precognition, which I am sure most commonly is noticed by a lot of you Emmas out there. If you know who you are, if you know that you're an Emma, put a hashtag I am an Emma. So precognition is knowing something is about to happen, and precognition comes in many variations. It's like knowing what someone is going to say right before they say it, or you might start singing a song in your head and then it comes on the radio. So really simple, right?
Okay, and boop, boop, boop.
So the first step to tuning into claircognizance is trusting that it is already working.
Our knowing modes are happening all the time. We just are not paying attention to them. So if you take a moment to think about it, the times that you have experienced claircognition in the past, you were probably not consciously trying to tap into anything. Just popped in your head, like a pop-up on your computer trying to sell you vitamins.
How do you get rid of those? I want to know. So one time we were driving home from the store and I got this sudden urge, because Gemini, to take a specific, like not a specific, but to take the scenic route home. Like we had a specific way that we drove home from the store every single day. And David is a creature of don't move my cheese.
Notorious of habit.
Yeah. He's like, no. And he's like, why are you going a different way? I'm like, because I just wanted to drive around the block because I just feel like doing it. We're going on an adventure. And he's like, can we just get home because I have to get back to work because I'm a Capricorn. I'm like, no, I want to go around the block because I just feel like it. So We had a moment, and I drove around, and it was really fun. I didn't question it.
I didn't really question it
and
either.
he just kind of went with it. You had a little Capricorn moment. A little, I bet you did. I bet you if you go back and watch the video footage, you had a little moment.
There was no video footage.
But at the end of story,
right.
Turned out that a few minutes after we got home, that someone had been shot in their driveway 2 doors down and right around the corner from our normal turn where we come into the neighborhood. So trusting that urge instead of rationalizing it away made the difference between a fun drive home and driving by the shooting while it was happening.
Probably would have been a totally different adventure.
Right.
So make mental notes of coincidences and any deja vu experiences, then explore them a little deeper. It might turn out that your luck is actually claircognizance. Cognizance. It's a new thing.
So if you have if you have ever had an experience like that,
where you had a strong urge to do something that was out of the norm for you, that wound up keeping you out of danger or something like that, let us know with a hashtag intuition in the chat box.
Yeah, because I will bet you anything that you've had an experience like that.
Yep. All right. Okay. And moving on.
So the third mode is the feeling emotional mode of clear empathy or clear emotions.
Yes, there we go. Okay, so yes.
So here's the rub with this one, because it is one of the senses most closely tied to our most primitive brain, which is the limbic system.
And this one can get super triggered very easily because it includes both where we feel all the feels and the amygdala, which controls our fight or flight.
So the amygdala is part of your limbic system, and it is your fight or flight system, but so it sits really close to that, right? So the amygdala is like a silent lurker just waiting to go postal at any second.
Not your best friend. This means that your empathy has a higher probability to be misunderstood or freaked out than the other senses when your fight or flight kicks in.
So the key to understanding about clear empathy is that you are feeling the emotions of another person while also understanding that the emotion is not yours.
And that is the key. So the clear empath or clear empath will initially feel the emotion, but then wait for a clear answer or a clear direction. Without this important difference, it is not clear empathy. It is just unclear empathy gone wild.
And this one gets tricky out there, folks, on the interwebs. So
and there might be videos.
So it does fall under the broader category of clairsentience,
right?
Which means clear sensing or sensing, feeling, and knowing modes. And this is the feeling part. So like we said before, it's tied to the limbic system in our brains, which can sometimes get super triggered when fight or flight kicks in.
Hashtag amygdala.
Thanks, amygdala.
Yep.
For making my life
All right. So are you an empath or a clair empath?
Okay. So what most people think of as an empath is not someone who has clear empathy. And the
clair empath and the empath who is not clear may initially look the same because they initially feel the same things, but the difference is how they respond to the sensation.
So the empath will be overly sensitive to it.
Right.
Okay. They may create a story around the sensation and can't figure out what is theirs and what isn't. This is the key.
Right.
Or they just can't detach from the external emotion for some internal reason.
Right. So the clair empath, on the other hand, strives to know their own emotional baseline and generally knows what is theirs. Like the empath, they feel things that are not theirs, but then they notice, check themselves, take a step back, and wait for the answer to come. Is this mine or is this not mine?
And this isn't always easy. So people get really sensitive about this. Like, they get all like some kind of way about it. But this isn't always easy because it takes some training and patience to get the amygdala to stand down.
Yes, absolutely.
But in the end, the clear empath, as opposed to just the empath, who's unclear, is able to release the feelings and emotions of other people without attachment. So it does take practice.
It does, absolutely. What they sense generally is not fear-based or conveyed with fear because they know it isn't theirs and it's ultimately not going to affect them negatively.
So remember how we talked about the amygdala being a problem with the sensing, feeling modes? Here's how it can happen.
We've got stored subconscious fear and paranoia that mix with psychic impressions and create a very real sensation of danger in the body when there might not really be one.
So the empath, not the clear empath, okay? Right. And this is, the distinction is not readily, easily, always made, almost never on the internet. So we all go down the empath rabbit hole and don't ever get out of it.
But we're making this distinction today.
Right, because we go down the empath rabbit hole with all the little empath groups, and we don't understand how to change that into a gift. It's just something that cripples us and keeps us locked in our houses. So the empath, not the clear empath, knows something is happening. But fear and paranoia will blow the idea of what that is out of proportion, creating a fear that hinders that clear feeling and clear knowing that is going to eventually emerge.
Right. So they end up becoming afraid of other people and their energy because of the fear that it inflicts. And they may isolate for longer periods, not just to rest and to recharge, but to escape, perhaps even in a very unhealthy way. Often they become even more unable to control emotions and can, if it's not handled right, lose sight of what is real and what is not.
So for instance, here's an example, because I'm not saying that it stops happening and all of a sudden you're like, oh,
I'm clear forever.
And I feel this emotion and it belongs to this person. I'm not saying that all of a sudden you don't experience it in the same way. So this is me earlier this year. For a few nights in a row, my right foot kept cramping up in a way that it never had before and never has since. And it was like this. And it sent this sensation that was shooting all the way up my leg and was excruciatingly painful. So I stretched, ate some carbs. I did everything I knew to do. It just didn't make sense for me. I had a little bit of panic with it. But I kept a note in the back of my mind that this sensation might not be mine. So the next day, my brother informed me that my dad had developed a blockage in his right foot in the exact spot that my cramp had been, that was causing incredible pain all the way up the leg and needed surgery immediately, because that kind of thing can be very quickly life-threatening for somebody his age. In fact, that was sort of the beginning of, because he did pass in July from complications. But so that's why it's important to stop, drop, and assess.
And continue doing your practice and doing your self-assessment. Even if you don't want to get complacent, is what we're saying. You don't want to get complacent. Just kind of play with it, expand, and realize that even if you get thrown off sometimes, go back to practice. So we're going to talk a little bit about beginning to develop this channel. Focus on something that you're feeling. Close your eyes and explore whether it's yours or whether it could be from some other source outside of you.
So if it seems completely unfamiliar to you, like this cramp and this little bit of panic I got from it in the middle of the night, or there's no reason why you personally should feel that way, focus on the feeling to see if you can get more information. And this is the key to learning to control your empathy. And I will have to say that clear empathy is one of the most important of the clairs to develop, because if you don't get a handle on it, if you can't turn your empathy into clear empathy, it will cloud all the other clairs.
Yes.
You will think you're seeing demons where it might just be a little boy, right? That kind of thing.
So see if you can feel perhaps where it comes from, whether the cause or the person or the thing that is feeling that way, okay?
So if it's not your feeling and you don't want it, simply acknowledge it and let it go.
Yes.
Okay.
So before we move on, we want to know how you guys are doing. Is anybody having any mindgasm yet? Any heartgasm? Any lifegasm?
Oh my God.
Let us know if you are with hashtag mindgasm in the chat.
So we can't tell you how many people learn about the brain stuff behind the abilities and are like, OMG, I do that and I had no idea. And I think that's the coolest thing for us. It totally is. It's literally one of our most favorite things about the online community we've built around our training in this stuff. It's just kind of mindgasms everywhere, every day.
Right. People learn how what they thought was weird about them is actually super awesome.
Right. So wouldn't you love to have multiple mindgasms whenever you wanted?
Hashtag on
demand. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. And You know, a last thought on clair empathy. I really want to emphasize that this is such an important one, especially for our Emmas out there, because
Right.
this is the one that will plague you the most. And almost daily, someone is getting in their way with this one.
Yeah.
You know, like,
so you want to know what it is? Boom. Clairaudience.
Right.
So the fourth and last mode that we want to talk about is clairaudience or clear audio. And it's pretty simple unless it isn't. Right? And in that case, you might need some psych meds. So here you may hear sounds, words, music, tones when there's no physical source of that sound present.
So these sounds, just like clairvoyance,
right?
Okay, may come from inside the head. Like you might definitely feel like it's inside your head, like you're hearing a song. We definitely.
Anybody ever had a song they couldn't get out of their head?
Right, and that's like internal clairaudience, right? Or it might seem like it comes from a place in the environment. Like you might hear your word being spoken, like
or your name.
Your word.
Your word. That's called a name.
That's your word. Your personal word.
Your personal word is your name.
So it might
be. Learn something new.
I'm just eyelinking you right now. Lord have mercy, my man. So it may be that you hear your name spoken in your ear, and it really feels like, sounds like someone is speaking to you physically in your ear. Okay.
Or behind you. I mean, I've had that happen to me where I turned around, literally there was nobody in this room that I was in, and somebody called my name, and I turned around and there was nobody there.
That's what I mean.
I've also had people that call my name when I'm sleeping, and I wake up and there's nobody there.
So a lot of people don't realize that the buzzing that they hear in their ears, that is, if it's not tinnitus, because sometimes the buzzing in your ears is tinnitus from ear damage, is the magnified sound of the electricity in your body. So if you plug your ears and just listen, don't do it right now because you can't hear what I'm saying, but if you put your fingers in your ears and plug them and just listen, and you're going to have to wait till after the webinar to try, you're going to hear all sorts of crackling and buzzing type noises, which is literally the electricity of your own body. And that will act like a green screen for receiving clairaudient messages.
Right.
So
keep in mind, this is not the kind of schizophrenia, multiple personality disorder, or tinnitus sounds that you can't shut off and that end up making you loony.
This can be turned off, okay? And that's the important distinction, is this with schizophrenia and those kinds of things where there's constant voices and you can't turn them off. There might be something else going on. So the clairaudience that is true clairaudience are usually messages or psychic impressions that pop in and pop out. Now, here's the thing. Can you have both happen at the same time?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because that amygdala, that fear center, is coloring your clairaudience. So you might have clairaudience happening, but again, just like the clair empathy story, you might be overlaying a little bit of fear into it. So always step back from your gifts and analyze them.
Right.
Okay.
So these are usually messages or psychic impressions that can pop in and pop out. So most of the time, they're not going to be running through your head constantly. Okay?
So I'll give you one example of
fun story, true story. Go ahead.
Of clairaudience. When we were on vacation, we went to Sedona, and we actually, to be honest, we visited a few places in Sedona, and we got bored.
We got bored with Sedona, so we decided to go somewhere else.
It was fun, but we kind of hit all the spots we wanted. And I was like, let's go up the hill to Jerome.
Because I heard some cool stuff out there.
Because I hear that it is like the best ghost hunting spot ever. So we're like, I don't know much about Jerome. We rolled into, there was like some festival going on. We pulled into the parking lot in front
I was driving.
We pulled into the main parking lot in front of the park. I'm like, let's go. There's a big park. There's some sort of event. Let's just go park there. David pulls into the parking lot. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting all like dramatic psychic girlfriend on him. And I was like, okay, just let me tune in. And so I like close my eyes.
No, it wasn't that bad at all. Come on.
I'm just being dramatic. Will you shut the fuck up and let me be
okay,
dramatic?
That was totally hard.
I was like, oh my God, let me tune in. So I'm tuning in and I'm seeing in my head internal clairvoyance, a picture of a woman in a green dress. She's older. She looks like she's from the 1800s. And I hear loud, loud saloon music, and I saw saloon doors.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hearing the saloon music in my head. I'm like, David, I'm hearing saloon music. I'm describing this whole thing. And he's like, would you look? Would you look? I'm like, no, wait. And so I finally opened my eyes and looked over. There was a saloon over to my left in real life that they had turned into a museum. So we went and explored. There was actually a picture of the woman on the wall that I saw, and it was a really fun experience. But that would be clairaudience you hear in your head. So, but that was an intentional tuning in
to turn it on.
Right. So intentional tuning in to see what senses were coming through.
Right.
So this is what I mean if you just open to the senses and let me see what I sense instead of let me see what I see.
Right.
You're going to get a whole range of things rather than just one.
So
thing.
when you go into practice mode or play mode, open all of your senses and maybe cycle through them or just open them up in general. So and see where the information comes in. Okay. Now we're going to move on to a little bit of how to develop this channel.
So like we were talking about before, sitting simply with 5 minutes with your fingers in your ears, or maybe even
after the webinar,
or even earplugs.
After the webinar.
I think they got that.
Right.
And tune into those sounds of your body. So you're actually tuning into sounds that you don't normally hear, but sounds that are always there.
Right. So 5 minutes. 5 minutes, do this. And
so if you tune into those sounds,
right,
you're going to be surprised at the variety of pitches that you hear that your body makes on the inside. Your body is a literal musical instrument. It is making so many sounds if you stop and you lose yourself into it.
Right.
And that's going to help develop that clairaudience muscle.
So also pay attention to the sounds around you when your ears are wide open. A good way to practice this is to put on one of your favorite songs and try to isolate each individual instrument within the music. Isolate the drums, follow the beat, then isolate the guitar or any of the winds or the strings or whatever you choose to bring your focus to, or just let your focus take you to different instruments through the song.
So as your years go on, focusing on one thing out of many, you're building a really great foundation to receive clairaudient information the way that you want to receive it, in a clearer channel than just random voices happening.
Right, and we're going to show you how you've already done this. Okay, have you ever tried this underwater in a pool or in the bathtub even when you were younger? Just listening to the sound of your head.
Or laying back in the bathtub with your ears underwater. I used to love to do that, just like listen to the boom, boom, boom. So here's an important question that I've got for you. So
do you feel like you understand psychic abilities better now? Let us know with a yes in the chat box if you have.
So that's what we want to know.
Boom. Yes,
Let's
yes.
Poll the audience.
Yes. I love it. All right, lots of yeses. Awesome.
It's one of my favorite words is yes. So we do love that. You guys are the best. We love it.
Do you feel like the exercises that we have shared with you today will help you to develop your abilities in an easy and doable way? Let's see those yeses.
You know, we do want to make it easy and doable, because the first step is the hardest step when you think that these psychic abilities are so out of your reach as a normal human being.
Right.
But they really are not. They're everyone's birthright, and that's it.
So we do love that. I love all the yeses. You guys are all the best. We appreciate you taking some time out of your Thursday to hang out with us, and it's about to get even better. You want to know why? Here's why. I'll tell you. It goes a little something like this.
I'm gonna have some water right now.
So, if there were a way to gain confidence as you develop your psychic abilities using science-based, bullshit-free, fun, and simple training in a safe place with people who actually get you.
And that we're going to help you step into your spiritual power so you can finally make the difference in the world you were born to make.
Without years of therapy or complicated rituals and rules.
Because I'm over it. I can't. With all the
would you take it? Yep. What's great for me is that you are confirming for me what's happening. Okay, Wendy, yeah, definitely go back and watch the rest of it. So if you would take it, now is your chance. You can actually be a part of Zen Academy. This is the next level metaphysical badassery fueled by brain juice magic. Bet you didn't know that. So it's our monthly membership, which gives you access to every course that we have created up to this point.
It's 16 courses and counting.
As well as our community of awesome people just like you. This is an online community where spiritual gangsters like you can get encouragement and feedback as you develop your spiritual gifts. And it combines the principles of neurology, psychology, science of self-development with the magic of mysticism so that you have a solid foundation as you explore your supernatural abilities. Let's see what's going on here. Like the one I just mentioned, yes, absolutely, 100%, awesome. So you get a shortcut through the bullshit to what works and can become fully you right now instead of waiting years and hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars chasing stuff that doesn't work.
So here's what you get if you come on in and join us at Zen Academy, and you get instant access to the courses that you see on your screen on the left, plus a whole bunch of bonuses, including our advanced mediumship training course, which is about a $4,000 value.
Advanced mediumship certification, that's a $1,000 value. The Chakras Masterclass,
which is about a $2,500 value.
Right.
Our Energy Healing Mastery and Healing Mediumship Masterclass, which we are actually right in the middle of teaching right now. That's about a $1,500 value.
Right.
Plus all of the courses that you see at the left and ongoing support, ongoing practices, ongoing mediumship circles, and ongoing community support from other weirdos just like you.
I can't even tell you how awesome our Zen heads are, and how supportive, how open, and how just thirsty for knowledge and growth they are. So the total value for that is $16,000 and growing. Your price today and today alone is $69 a month. There's a link down below. You can use that. Right now, you can get into Zen Academy for $69 a month, locked in for life. That's it. You're grabbing it, holding it, taking it home. This means that as long as you are enrolled in Zen Academy, you get instant access to all of the training and all of the bonuses that we listed for only $69 a month.
But this is a limited time offer because we are restructuring the Academy right now to offer way more awesome stuff because it's growing. Yes. And this price is going to be too low when that happens because you can already see that we've got massive amounts of classes and the classes are ever expanding.
There's much more coming up. So the guarantees, we don't want your money if this is not right for you. We don't want to take people's money that don't fit. So check us out for 30 days. If we are not your style, if you don't like us for any reason, just email before your 30 days are over to request a full, no questions asked refund. I'm not going to ask you anything. I'm just going to say, hey, got you taken care of. I love to help out. And that's another way I like to help out. Just so you know. Once again, those bonuses, the advanced mediumship training, the advanced mediumship certification, the Chakras Masterclass, Energy Healing Mastery and Healing Mediumship, all of that. And just so that you guys know, the Advanced Mediumship Certification, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. And then the exercises that are ongoing, we've got two main exercises that we do every week. One is on mediumship and the other one is on tarot, kind of practicing tarot. And at this point, you really only have three options, right? I'm going to break down what those are. One, you can do absolutely nothing. You can stay the same. You can be constantly frustrated with these same cycles that repeat over and over and over and over and over again.
And number two, you can look for answers on your own and spend years trying to separate the good shit from the bullshit, which is what I did. It took me about 50 years to get there, literally, instead of living to the fullest of your potential.
Or you can click that link that we just shared in the chat box and come over to join your tribe of magical mofos right meow. That means I have to actually share it in the chat box.
You have to share it.
That means I have to actually share it in the chat box. Boom, boom. Let me actually share this in the chat box so you guys have it. Boom.
I'm glad you have that memorized because I don't. So you can choose to drastically shorten the learning curve as you develop your psychic abilities. And I think some of our Zen heads are in this chat with us today, and they can kind of attest to their learning curve has been drastically shortened as you develop your psychic abilities using science-based and bullshit-free, fun and simple training in a space with people who get you.
Boom, Becky has just got my back.
And step into your spiritual power so you can finally change your world for good.
For good. Everybody likes good, right? So the choice is yours, okay? You can keep doing the same thing you've been doing. We're going to come back on screen now. Where's the stop? Stop it. Stop sharing.
You're the tech god. I don't know how to do this part.
Stop share. Okay. What's up? Okay, so totally worth it. Hashtag I got you. Yep, worth every penny. Let's see. Thank you guys. Thanks, Omar, for joining us. Wendy, thank you. Let's see. Missed the beginning, but in the unit psychic stuff, you have these where covered. I missed the first 35 minutes, and you were talking something with the aura and seeing via shadow. That is new to me. Yeah. Definitely go back and watch it. There's definitely more to watch. Let's see. What else?
And I think we have
Thank you so much, Dave. Thanks for joining us.
I think we have that shadow exercise somewhere in one of our courses on
the shadow exercise.
Yeah, the shadow.
And if we don't, we'll link it. We'll link you to it, or we will do it again. Melissa, good to see you. Thank you. You both are so much fun. Thank you for joining us. It is always a pleasure to see people.
Absolutely.
And hang out with you guys. And I think that should just be about it. So the choice is yours. You guys get to do whatever you want. We would love to have you join us, but we hope that today has helped you in some way. And stick around. Hang out with us. Connect with us wherever you happen to connect with us. Let's see. Link is working.
Awesome.
Awesome. Good. Isn't
working.
Damn it.
We will get that fixed. Maybe he's fixing it right now. He could have put in a wrong link.
I could have done all kinds of things today. Boom, boom. All right, that is not working. Let me get you a better link, guys. Hang on just a moment, and I will fix that for you on the fly. Thanks, Dave, for letting me know so that I can actually get this better for you guys. We've been having some tech issues, so I do appreciate you guys bearing with me. Boom, boom. Whoa, okay. Now let's try that. Yeah, we will definitely be sending out an updated link with the replay as well, just to let you know. Okay, Dave, go ahead and try that now. The one that I just dropped, that I did not drop. Now Becky's just got my back. She's awesome. Yeah, let me know if that link works. I've tried it on my end and it looks like it works now.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know why it didn't work before. Yes, it does. Awesome, awesome. Okay, thanks, Dave.
Yes.
All right, so does anybody have any questions before we bounce out today?
Okay.
Yep, it's working. Yes, yes. Awesome, awesome. Tech gremlins have been real this entire week, and it's been frustrating for my tech brain because I don't usually have this many issues. But I do thank you guys for your patience and working with me while we get this resolved. Okay, we can send out updated link. Yep, it's working. All right.
Fabulous.
Okay, no questions. I think we're good and wrapped for now. Once again, thank you guys. Thank you guys. You could be doing anything else with your time. The fact that you guys have chosen to spend that with us, we honor and appreciate that. But most importantly, that you have been here to level up your mind, your skills, and take your life to a whole new level. We absolutely honor and appreciate that even more. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you on the flip side.
We'll see you guys soon.